Welcome to the Learning Quest channel. I'm your host Sareem Akhtar Malik. Learning Quest is an educational channel that provides you quality learning on management and social sciences. It helps you in reinforcing your knowledge by adding to your learning that you gain in your university or college. You can get the transcripts or hard copies of the tutorials by contacting me on the email address flashed on the screen. These transcripts will be provided to you free of cost. You are requested to please subscribe to this channel. This is Organizational Behavior Tutorial 9. In this tutorial, I'll talk to you about organizational communication. After viewing this tutorial, you will understand functions of communication, the communication process, elements of communication process, interpersonal communication, grapevine, computer-aided communication, and barriers to communication. Functions of communication are: it controls member behavior, foster motivation for what is to be done, provide a release for emotional expression, and provide information needed to make decisions. The communication process comprises the channel. Channel is the medium selected by the sender through which the message travels to the receiver. And there are two types of channels: formal channels and informal channels. Formal channels are established by the organization and transmit messages that are related to the professional activities of members. Informal channels are used to transmit personal or social messages in the organization. These informal channels are spontaneous and emerge as a response to individuals' choices. Elements of the communication process are the sender, encoding, that is encoding of the message itself, the channel which we have already discussed, decoding, thereafter the message is decoded, the receiver, noise, and feedback. Interpersonal communication, that is the communication that takes place between two or more persons, includes oral communication. The advantages of oral communication are speed and feedback, and disadvantages, distortion of the message. It is not very specific. It can be construed or understood in different manner by different people. Then there is the written communication. Advantages are tangible, that is precise, and verifiable. Disadvantages are time consuming and lacks feedback. Then there is the non-verbal communication. Its advantages are that non-verbal communication supports other communications and provides observable expression of emotions and feelings. And disadvantages that it is misperception of body language or gestures that can influence receivers' interpretation of message. So non-verbal communication primarily comprises the body language and gestures. Grapevine. Grapevine literally means rumors, and its characteristics are it is informal and not controlled by management because it is based on rumors, perceived by most employees as being more believable and reliable than formal communications, largely used to serve the self-interest of those who use it, and results from desire for information about important situations, ambiguous conditions, and conditions that cause anxiety. how to reduce negative rumors, announce timetables for making important decisions, explains decisions and behaviors that may appear inconsistent or secretive, emphasize the downside as well as the upside of current decisions and future plans, that is, the pros and cons, openly discussed worst case possibilities. It is almost never as anxiety provoking as the unspoken fantasy. Computer aided communication. First is email. Advantages are that it is quickly written, sent and stored, low cost for distribution. Disadvantages: information overload, lack of emotional content, cold and impersonal. It is like a robot sending the message. Instant messaging. Advantages: it is real time, email transmitted straight to the receiver's desktop. And disadvantage: can be intrusive and distracting. Other forms of computer-aided communication are intranet. It's a private organization-wide information network. Extranet. It's an information network connecting employees with external suppliers, customers, and strategic partners. Video conferencing. An extension of an intranet or extranet that permits face-to-face virtual meetings via video links like Zoom. I will now talk about knowledge management or KM. So what is knowledge management? It is a process of organizing and distributing an organization's collective wisdom so the right information gets to the right people at the right time. Why knowledge management is important? It is because intellectual assets are as important as physical assets. When individuals leave, their knowledge and experience goes with them. A knowledge management system reduces redundancy. That is, it never becomes redundant or out of date and makes the organization more efficient. Choice of your communication channel depends upon channel richness, which is the amount of information that can be transmitted during a communication episode. Characteristics of rich channels are: handle multiple cues simultaneously, facilitate rapid feedback, and are very personal in context. There are certain barriers to effective communication, and these are: number one, filtering. It is a sender's manipulation of information so that it will be seen more favorably by the receiver. Selective perception. People selectively interpret what they see on the basis of their interests, background, experience, and attitudes. Then there is the information overload. It is a condition in which information inflow exceeds an individual's processing capacity. Emotions, that is how a receiver feels at the time a message is received, will influence how the message is interpreted. Language, words have different meanings to different people. Communication apprehension, undue tension and anxiety about oral communication, written communication, or both. Communication barriers between men and women. Men talk to emphasize status, power, and independence, complain that women talk on and on, offer solutions, that is, men, when they talk, they offer solutions, and to boast about their accomplishments. Women talk to establish connection and intimacy, criticize men for not listening, speak of problems to promote closeness, and express regret and restore balance to a conversation. Silence as communication. Silence is a powerful form of communication. It can indicate thinking, anger, and fear. Watch for gaps, pauses, and hesitations in conversations. What is the politically correct communication? Certain words stereotype, intimidate, and insult individuals. In an increasingly diverse workforce, we must be sensitive to how words might offend others. So, words like handicapped, blind, and elderly should be replaced with physically challenged, visually impaired, and senior. However, removing certain words from the vocabulary makes it harder to communicate accurately. For example, if we remove the words like garbage, quotas, and women with terms like post-consumer waste materials, educational equity, and people of gender, it will become difficult for the people to understand. Communication barriers and cultural context. There are two types of cultures, high context cultures and low context cultures. High context cultures are cultures that rely heavily on non-verbal and subtle situational cues to communication. Low context cultures are cultures that rely heavily on words to convey meaning in communication. That was all about organizational communication. In the next tutorial, that is organizational behavior tutorial 10, I will be talking to you about leadership.